I'm Philip Duncan from Weatherwatch TV with your 7-day Australia-only forecast recorded on the 1st of February. Well, the forecast at the moment sees a lot of low pressure up here to the north. That's what you see in the darker shading. Now, the brighter shading, that is high pressure over the Great Australian Bight. That is a dominant feature for the next couple of weeks. Not just that one high, but a series of high pressure zones tracking along the south of Australia, drying things out, but also cooling things down a little bit just to begin with over the next couple of days. Perth today, by the way, 38 degrees, so pretty hot over there. You got some windy weather coming up though, not on Friday, but in the days ahead. That windy weather does return to the western side or the southwestern side of Australia. Down in the southeastern corner, it's a cooler one on Friday. Hobart, just 16 degrees is your maximum temperature. Windy weather for you, and that's your coolest day of the next 7 days coming up. And there'll be some single-digit overnight lows for some of you in Victoria as you go through into Friday night. But most of the wet weather is well up here to the north, Dumadji over to Cairns. That's where we're seeing that real tropical stuff. And then out to the east, low pressure in the Coral Sea, well worth keeping an eye on because unfortunately the computer models do suggest that this will become the third tropical cyclone and it may well come into Queensland again. So we're keeping an eye on it. It's not locked in, but the modelling has been picking it for a number of days now. So as we go into Saturday, there's a change down here. The winds shift around more west to northwest, and all of a sudden, Hobart, you're up to 25 degrees. So that's quite a big jump as that warmth comes back, goes over the hills and mountains and warms up for you. And then over here on the western side, Broome, 33 degrees, bit of a breeze, 33 degrees and a bit of a breeze. There you go, coming off the sea. And in fact, there's a westerly flow pushing along the top of Australia as we go in towards the weekend. Elsewhere, hot weather, that red line measures air thickness. And so very humid weather, obviously drier inland, but you can feel that tropical energy dropping right down into Victoria, even Canberra getting into that hot stuff as well. Now by Sunday, that low pressure zone up here around Mount Isa is kind of falling apart. It's not very strong, but it's enough to keep that rain falling, thunderstorms bubbling up into the afternoon. And the same in the far north of Queensland. It's a pretty similar story for you. Over on the western side, you can see that windy weather coming ahead of the next high. So that's the reason why Perth, Geraldton, northwards, you're getting that windier weather. Hello to our viewers that are inland as well. Someone wrote to me, I've forgotten where you were from, sorry. It was somewhere in here though, I believe. It was north of Kalgoorlie. So hello to you and to anyone else who's watching. I love hearing from wherever you are around Australia. So going into Monday now, after that pulse of hot weather, Sunday will be a hot day in Adelaide and Melbourne and getting down into Canberra as well. All those areas over to the eastern side are going to be hotter as we get in towards Sunday and Monday. But on Monday, slight change in the airflow here means that it may just drop a little bit in some of these coastal areas and the low pressure zone drops further down through the interior. So by Tuesday, thunderstorms line up all the way towards Sydney, and there's a slight change on Tuesday for the Sydney area. Adelaide, 21 degrees, that is your lowest maximum coming up of the next 7 days. So you will notice that slightly cooler airflow, more of a sort of a southeasterly or even a bit of a southerly coming in for you. Alice Springs though, pretty warm, 38 degrees for you, and also quite windy with that area of low pressure nearby and the high down to the south. That's the reason why you got that squash zone in the middle pushing out to the west. So the west is going to get hot and the southeast here cooling down just a little bit by Tuesday. Now, as we get into Wednesday, still not a great deal of change. There isn't much happening really around Australia for the next several days. Windy weather carries on from, actually really from the east to the west. It's windy along the whole southern half of the country. The showers, not too widespread, but you can see here around Sydney, there's a bit of a southerly change coming in. You're probably looking forward to that. Might drop your temperatures just a little bit, which will be welcome. And a few showers up here around Brisbane and coastal parts of Queensland, not too bad. Now the low offshore, still not, doesn't look like a tropical cyclone yet as it moves up towards sort of the Vanuatu side, but keep a close eye on this. The modelling does suggest it drops back down and it may come in somewhere around Mackay or Rockhampton. It's not locked in though, but if you take a look at those long range models, you can see that there is a storm forming in that area. So to make sense of all the rain, this is the map for the next 7 days. So obviously there's nothing falling over in this area, it's dry for you, but rain and showers all the way along the northwestern side, and we've got plenty of showers around Albany and other parts of the coastline here, Adelaide looks completely dry. Melbourne looks almost dry completely as well. Maybe a couple of showers. And then you move up around Sydney, coastal areas, and same with Canberra. You're seeing just a few showers in there, mostly thunderstorms. So the bulk of the rain up here, Cairns, over to the inland areas, Mount Isa and those places, we'll be seeing most of the wet weather. And that is all from me for today. We'll be back again 1 week from now with our next 7-day Australia Outlook.